Hello and welcome to another video. Today's video is made using, the card is made using the suit and tie bundle, using the handsomely suited stamp set and the suit and tie dies. And we're making this card today. Look at how dapper he looks. So I thought that this card would be a fun one to make in anticipation for all kinds of the men in your life. For me, for example, my husband's birthday is in February, and so I thought that even though I made this card for a swap that's theme was masculine, I thought that it would make for a lovely card for my husband for his birthday. So this card is ridiculously straightforward. It does have a lot of moving parts, but it's not difficult to assemble. So first, let me show you the dies. So it comes with, oh, I guess I put these little buttons in the wrong spot. So it comes with lots of beautiful dies here. So it has this V shape that I used. Let me, I guess, show you which pieces I used for what. So I did pre-die cut all of these to make sure that I had, my video wasn't too long. So I used this piece here to die cut out my section. I used this piece to die cut the, I guess, lapel part of his jacket. This piece here does the collar of the shirt. You get the tie from this piece right here. And then this little one here that matches is actually so that you can kind of have a little dimension on top of your tie. This piece here actually pops out 6 buttons. Oh, here we go. So 6 little buttons. So I actually have like a bunch of them off camera because when I made my swap, as you can tell from my original, I fit 2, but I wasn't sure if I was going to try to do 3, so I had only put 2. So hence why I had all my extras. It also has these pieces here. These are pieces for like belt clips, or not like suspender clips. These you can use for suspenders. But the only other piece I used was this piece here for the pocket, and it does, oh, let me see if I can get it in a good light here. It has the stitching all around. Isn't that cute? So let me show you how to assemble this. It's not particularly difficult. You do need to be a little bit careful though with the tie and this piece here in terms of centering it. There were definitely a couple of cards where like I had to be extra careful to make sure that it was centered, because otherwise the tie was a little off center. So let me show you how to assemble it. Let me move my stamp set for a second. So let's assemble the tie first. You could absolutely add a little dot of liquid glue or some of this Stampin' Seal. I just added a simple glue dot. Oh, my big old finger's in the way. There we go. That's all I did because I knew that the lapel, or not the lapel, the collar was going to kind of push it down a little bit, so it really didn't need much. So then you can do one of 2 things. As you can tell from right here, the tie goes behind the jacket, right? So you want it to be kind of centered, but you also want it to be not too far down so that your collar makes sense where it is. So in order to do that, the very first card I did, I had actually put glue on the sides here and then glued it and then stuck the tie in afterwards. And I found that that was just not as successful as it felt like it should have been in my mind. And so I actually just got a ruler. So first, let's go ahead and continue adhering our pieces. So I recommend for this piece here, you know, be a little bit generous on the flaps. And then here's the kind of trick to it, is that you really do need to have a little tiny dot right there. Like not very much at all, like it's barely noticeable, but you do need to have something there because otherwise that part does in fact flap up. My very first kind of practice card that I made with it, it was definitely doing that, and I was like, oh, I need to fix that. And so I was able to kind of gently work it up in order to press it back down and have it exactly as I wanted it. And there you go. So it's not very difficult. I don't recommend the seal for this part just because you do really kind of want it to be able to wiggle if you didn't get it quite head on. Another thing you might notice, my die cut piece goes in the same directional pattern as this piece. This piece is in fact cut, let me show you, that it will be flush with my card front. So if I fold this, there we go. Press down a bone folder. So if I put this on here, it will be exactly flush with it. So this is 4 1/4 in terms of width and 5 1/2 in terms of height. If you have the paper, which is, oh, it can be here, let me grab it. There we go. This paper is 12 by 12, which means that normally if you cut it at 4 inches, you'd be able to get multiple card layers, but 4 1/4 means that if you cut out 2 sets, 4 1/4 plus 4 1/4 is 8 1/2, which means you're left with a strip that is not usable the same way as a card front. And so in order to still be usable for this, I actually used it. It's wide enough to cut out this kind of lapel piece. I will warn you, you need to get it really close. So if that's not something comfortable for you, you may want to practice with like a different pattern paper first if you're going to use this one, so that way you can get into the habit of lining it up correctly. Just a warning there. So now the other thing you can do if you wanted to is you could actually add a glue dot to the bottom of your tie first and then line it up in the center before you actually adhere it, because then all you have to do is line this up. You just need to make sure it's not too far up. So I think this card, I'm actually going to do that. So how you do it, if you measure, I've just got a trusty little, this is a metal ruler with like a little cushion. So notice here, if you measure it, it's just above a centimeter, or not a centimeter, that's 1/2 inch. Just a little bit more than 1/2 inch. It looks like it's about 5/8 of an inch, or, oh wait, what am I doing? There we go, centimeters, goodness. Looks like 1.5 centimeters or so, or about 5/8 of an inch on this end. So that's approximate. So what that means, and notice here, there was actually a little space up here, so I could probably push it to a 1/2 inch. So let's go ahead and do that. How you do it, it's pretty easy. Notice there's my 1/2 inch. I'm actually going to just put a little dollop of glue. There we go. Not much, because you don't want it to like come out from the top. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay it. Actually, I have a secondary ruler. Let's use it too. And you can use your grid paper for this. My grid paper is kind of messy. This is actually a pad of new grid paper that I haven't gotten out yet. So now you got to lay it on top, but notice you want to make sure it's centered. And there we go. So now we've got that, and it's ready to go. And now this I can adhere to my card front. And let's see how well I did that. Let's find out together. And so yeah, this is definitely one of those cards where there's a lot of possibility from the patterned paper, but also from other optional pieces that you could tie in with this. One of the ways I intend to try to use this set is by playing with my different embossing folders, because one, I have a fair collection and I really like embossing folders for the kind of texture they add. So imagine if you used one of the patterned papers, but you put it through one of our embossing folders first, especially if you pick one that's not too harsh on regular designer series paper. It could lead to some really beautiful stuff. So now I added just a little bit of the adhesive of my Tombow liquid adhesive, and now boom, they just tie that up, lay it flush with the top. It looks like I was pretty close to center, to the point, whoops, hello, and this is another benefit to using liquid glue. There we go. And now just add a little bit of the something extra special. If you wanted to do something super cute and you had it available, you could even put adhesive only on the outside here, and you could tuck like a little piece of a tissue or something in here. Wouldn't that be cute? So line that up. There we go. And again, I cut this. I actually, for those of you who are curious as to paper saving techniques, I actually cut this out of this piece right here. So remember the lapel came in? The extra, sorry, not the lapel. I had to cut out the piece from, well, here, let me show you. So I had to cut out this piece, right, from the main part of the die, like the one that was just a V. So this part came out. So I actually die cut this piece from my leftovers. So that way, again, I'm not like trying to waste my extra places. So for my buttons, I just added a little teeny tiny dollop of glue, but obviously a mini glue dot will work just swimmingly. And the nice thing too is, like, I chose this kind of gray and red pattern here, but there are so many lovely patterns of the paper in this set. And so really you can kind of go for like any look that the men in your life who maybe doll themselves up this way in kind of a professional look, you can really play with that. So let's go ahead now and notice here I was a little bit large on my cutting of my paper originally, so let's trim that down. So how you do this, and honestly it's better to go kind of large than small sometimes. So you essentially just line up your scissors, the paper snips, the blade, essentially tuck it right next to the cardstock, and it'll come right off. Essentially your scissors will glide, the snips will just glide along the paper, and you will not be cutting the cardstock because of that contact. And there we go. And that should still look dashing. There we go. Let's throw those away. And then, so see, I've got my extra button right there. So now we need to stamp our sentiment on the inside. I used basic gray on this piece here. Let's go ahead. Do I have it out? Let's use my Memento for this one, and we'll see how much of a difference a black makes comparatively. So I used it as a birthday card. And so I'll do the same here. Happy birthday to you. So there we go. And right there in the middle. Very good. So if I had, apparently it looks like I need to re-ink my Memento. I do use it a lot. It's usually my go-to black. Let's try it on another scrap of paper here and to check. Yeah, I need to re-ink it. Well, I'll do that, and I will see you guys in the next video. There's that. I mean, they look very, very similar, a little bit different, but very similar. And you could change up the paper. You could use a different paper for the lapel compared to the, like, look at this one. Like this one, and adding a texture to it, to the embossing folder. This is the back of the tie, right? The red. You've got really some lovely patterns in here. Here's some paisley. Isn't that cute? So lots of options with this paper, especially because it's not necessarily needing to be masculine. So that's always nice. So if you have any questions or you need any material, feel free to get in touch. This tutorial is, excuse me, this tutorial is one of those where it's not necessarily difficult to do. It's just a little bit more time consuming than some of my other cards. So if you need any help, just let me know and get in touch, and I will see you guys in the next video. Feel free to subscribe if you would like to see more of these on your feed. See you then. Bye.